how this action was unfolded by our Indian revolutionary youth. सरफरोशी की तमन्ना आज हमारे दिल में है. So these were just not merely lines of some song or a poetry. This was the heartbeat of the Indian revolutionary youth. Ashfaqulla Khan, his very close friend, who broke the iron box. Rajendra Lahiri, who pulled the train chain. Roshan Singh, Chandrasekhar Azab, he was the only HRA member, very key member who escaped the arrest. The members of HRI themselves betrayed the key founding members of HRA and gave their names to the British authority. Ram Prasad Bismil was arrested and was taken to the gallows or cells of the jail. He sang or raised this slogan, "Sarfaroshi ki tamanna aaj hamare dil mein." Asked Ram Prasad Bismil, "Mr. Ram Prasad, from which university have you taken degree in law?" Ram Prasad Bismil very confidently replied, "Excuse me, sir, kingmakers don't require any degree." Hello, dear aspirants. So today we are going to take up a very important topic from current affairs perspective, and that is your Kakori Train Action. We are celebrating the 100 years of this action. So let's understand how this action was unfolded by our Indian revolutionary youth. You must have heard these lines of a song or a slogan, "Sarfaroshi ki tamanna aaj hamare dil mein hai." So these were just not merely lines of some song or a poetry. This was the heartbeat of the Indian revolutionary youth who executed the Kakori Train Action. Kakori Train Action was just not merely an act of looting or plundering or a robbery. It was a political statement by the Indian revolutionary youth who wanted to give up the message that now they are not going to beg to the Britishers for the freedom. Rather, they are going to directly take from them. So let's understand how this Kakori Train Action was unfolded. Who all were the revolutionaries who were part of it? What was this conspiracy trial that was undertaken by the British judge? What was the sentence? How was it so significant that it inspired the future freedom struggle movement as well? Right? So let's take up this whole discussion. So Kakori Train Action, as I just mentioned, was coming in the part of a very important phase of your modern Indian history, and that is your phase of revolutionary nationalism. So when we talk about the Kakori Train Action, we need to understand how this plan of Kakori Train was executed. Who all were responsible in it? So in this, a very important personality without whose effort this whole train action could not have executed was Ram Prasad Bismil. So he was the one who is one of the founding fathers of the Hindustan Republican Association. But before we understand how this party got formed, let's understand how Ram Prasad Bismil thought of, this plan of robbing the Kakori train, right? So let's unveil how this train action was executed. So Ram Prasad Bismil was born in Shahjahanpur. He was an Arya Samaji, and because he visited daily an Arya Samaj temple at Shahjahanpur, he got into contact with Swami Somdev. Swami Somdev was friend and companion of Bhai Parmanand, and when Ram Prasad Bismil was an 18-year-old youth, he got to hear of a death sentence of Bhai Parmanand. So when he got to know about the death sentence, he was really taken aback. And he wrote a poem in Hindi titled Mera Janam, which he showed it to Swami Somdev. Swami Somdev, saw a spark in Ram Prasad Bismil, and he introduced him to a person with the name of Gendalal Dikshit. Now, why did he introduce Ram Prasad Bismil to Gendalal Dikshit? So Gendalal Dikshit was a very influential person, and he had links with people who could source the arms and ammunition. By this time, Ram Prasad Bismil had already formed a revolutionary organization by the name of Matri Devi, which had a local, regional, prominence. So he thought that, it is important to understand how this organization on the activities of, this looting or giving the message to the Britishers could be further done. So Gendalal Dikshit basically made him understand the nuances, and he himself had an armed organization of youth called Shivaji Samiti, which was named after Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So they both started organizing the youth in taking up the actions against the British government. So different youths from different cities like Etawah, Mainpuri, Agra, Shahjahanpur, which were the districts of United Provinces, present-day Uttar Pradesh, were involved in it. Now comes the time when this whole organization of youth started to publish certain pamphlets or weekly journal. And that's how one Mainpuri conspiracy gets unfolded. So what is this Mainpuri conspiracy? It was the result of the pamphlets or the journals or the press that was published by or under the guidance of Ram Prasad Bismil that led to this conspiracy. So let's understand that. So in January 1918, Ram Prasad Bismil published a pamphlet with the name of Deshwasiyon ke Naam Sandesh. In English, it's read as a message to the countrymen. And he distributed this pamphlet along with a poem by the name of Mainpuri Ki Pratigya. Now, the agenda was to motivate the youth to undertake looting or collect funds for the party, right? So this looting action was undertaken on 3 occasions in 1918, and in this whole, act, Ram Prasad Bismil's contribution was very important. So police started searching for the youth that was organized by Ram Prasad Bismil in the Mainpuri. And in one of the incidences, when Ram Prasad Bismil was selling the books and pamphlets in Delhi, the police caught him, right? So police found Ram Prasad Bismil, but he absconded. He basically, dived into Yamuna and he absconded the police operation. Again, with this, action, the police authorities booked the case, registered a case against Bismil and others, and that is known as Mainpuri conspiracy, right? So there were arrests made of Gendalal Dikshit and, Ram Prasad Bismil. Now, there was this time when, in February 1920, when the prisoners of Mainpuri conspiracy got released, Ram Prasad Bismil returned to his native place, Shahjahanpur. Now, he had to give an undertaking to the magistrate that he will now not be undertaking any activities against the British government. So, in that declaration, when he signed, after that, he joined a job as a manager in the Bharat Silk Manufacturing Company at Shahjahanpur. So he, was doing that job, but he was not satisfied. He thought of opening a separate business of saris. So he associated with one of his friend Banarsi Lal. With him, he became a very close friendship and close friends, and both of them got associated and opened their own shop. But still, he was not satisfied. He wanted to pursue and do things which can, transform or which can ignite the minds of the Indian revolutionary youth. And he was in that desperate move or incident where he could start taking action. And then happened a very famous incident, that was Chauri Chaura incident, due to which Gandhiji had to revoke or take back the non-cooperation movement. Now, this sudden withdrawal by Gandhiji dissatisfied the Indian revolutionary youth. They got very hopeless, they got dejected because they wanted direct action. The momentum which non-cooperation movement had gained, which was, in a very shocking incident, abruptly was stopped, did not go down well with the Indian revolutionaries. So basically, they started to believed that now they cannot rely on moderate methods. They cannot rely on passive methods. They had to take up direct action. They also wanted to ignite that revolutionary movement among the Indian youths. For that, they started to, get influenced by Russian nihilist method by opening or, setting up secret revolutionary organizations. They also felt that, with the Congress methods, the youth would not be represented. So now is the time to mobilize the youth. Also, at that point of time, the condition of India was not economically and politically well. So, because of these conditions, the Indian revolutionaries, under the leadership of Ram Prasad Bismil, organized themselves and conceived the idea of Hindustan Republican Association. So, let's understand how was this Hindustan Republican Association formed. So, basically, with the consent of Lala Hardayal, Ram Prasad Bismil went to Allahabad, where he drafted the constitution for this future Hindustan Republican Association in 1923 with the help of Sachindranath Sanyal and another revolutionary of Bengal by the name of Dr. Jadu Gopal Mukherjee. Officially, they titled this constitution as the Revolutionary, which was primarily drafted by Sachindranath Sanyal. Under his leadership, there was this committee set up which drafted this constitution. This pamphlet or constitution, the revolutionary, was published under a fictitious name published by Vijay Kumar across the revolutionaries in India. This constitution was known as Yellow Paper Constitution. Why was it called as Yellow Paper Constitution? It was called Yellow Paper Constitution because it was published on a paper which was yellow in color. Now, what were the objectives of this constitution which they wanted to profess and propagate among the Indian revolutionaries across India? So, the purpose of drafting this Yellow Paper Constitution or the revolutionary was to define the ideologies, objectives, and structure of Hindustan Republican Association. Now, their main objective was to have a federal republic of United States of India. Their method mainly involved armed revolution. Their vision was that everyone is equal. There should be welfare concept that should be popularized in India. Their organization was done in cells through an organization or a party called Hindustan Republican Association. Now, as we have already discussed, that this Yellow Paper Constitution was the most important, vision which conceived the Hindustan Republican Association. So, this meeting, when this constitution was drafted, it was decided that the name of the party which the Indian revolutionaries will be part of it, would be known as Hindustan Republican Association. The policies of Gandhiji was openly criticized in the constitution. Now, what were the main features and the ideals? The main feature was that there should be equality for all. There should be economic equality, there should be political equality, justice, welfare for peasants, workers, people. There should be an armed revolution to overthrow British rule. So these were the ideas which were part of this Yellow Paper Constitution, as well as the whole vision of HRA, that is Hindustan Republican Association. And how are they going to do it? How are they going to achieve their goal? Their main agenda or method that they would now going to use to make their vision come in real was through armed revolution, through setting up of secret revolutionary organizations to loot and plunder government agencies and rich people. So that was what their plan was, right? So their activities were of two kinds. One was in the form of public activities, and the other was in the form of private or secret activities. Publicly, what all did they do? So they set up cultural institutions like clubs, samitis, where they highlighted and propagated their ideas and message to the people. They also mobilized and ignited the revolutionary consciousness among the Indian peasants and the workers. This all they did publicly. They also, took out provincial weekly papers, pamphlets, booklets, which educated the common masses or the public about the revolutionary ideas that were also generated worldwide. Not only this, they also, infiltrated politically by being a part of the Congress. So they used the Congress members also to propagate their ideas or message of revolutionary nationalism. Now let's understand what private activities or secret activities they did. Obviously, they did not want to come into the limelight and eyes of the Britishers. So they had to collect funds, very secretly. So how did they do it? So they basically had a publishing infrastructure that produced literature, published weekly pamphlets, books, literature, etc. secretly. Now, why did they do this? Because they did not want to come into the direct surveillance of the Britishers. They also set up secret cells or revolutionary samitis very secretly across India through cells by appointing different youth at different centers of India. They also promised their members that they would receive military as well as scientific training abroad, which would give them the front or an exposure how to use foreign made guns and infrastructure. They also had this secret strategy of procuring arms by looting and plundering the government agencies as well as the rich Indians, right? Apart from that, they also, placed their members in the British Army to get access to the arms and ammunitions. So this is what their secret or private activities or network, which was used by the Hindustan Republican Association members. Apart from this, what you have to understand is that how did the HRA basically had their organizational structure and revolutionary program executed. So for that, they appointed key revolutionaries at different posts. And what were they? So after a long discussion in the meeting and through consensus, it was decided that Ram Prasad Bismil would be declared as the district organizer of Shahjahanpur and chief of arms division. In addition to it, he was also given responsibility of provincial organizer of United Provinces. Sachindranath Sanyal was nominated as the national organizer. Another very important, member of HRA, that was Jogen Chandra Chatterjee, was given the responsibility of being the coordinator of Anushilan Samiti. After attending the meeting in Kanpur, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee and Sachindranath Sanyal left United Provinces and moved ahead to Bengal to spread the network and idea of the HRA ideology. Now what happens is that you need to know that how HRA so secretly and effectively organized their activities and could execute in future Kakori Train Action. So they had a 3-level governing structure. The first level, at the highest level, was the Central Council, which was the supreme governing authority. At the provincial level, there were these committees or departments set up for different agendas that executed the program and objectives of the HRA. And the third level was of having a district organizer, the sole in charge, the head, the face of HRA in the districts. Now let's understand very briefly how the supreme governing authority, that is your Central Council of HRA, executed their activities and what were the roles and responsibilities. So at the national level, this Central Council comprised of representatives from all the provinces of India. Now, this body had the absolute decision-making power when it came to taking HRA program and its decisions. The main responsibility for the coordination and supervision of all the revolutionary activities throughout the subcontinent and even the oversight in the foreign countries came under the ambit of the Central Council. Next level was the provincial level, which was the operational arm or division of HRA. So in this provincial organization, there was a 5-member committee which was having different objectives, and this member committee, 5-member committee, was responsible for the HRA's core functions at the provincial level, right? So all the committee's decisions were taken unanimously. There was this departmental coordination executed. So there was this 5 departments that were laid down at the provincial level. The first department was the propaganda department. Now the main task or the function of this department was to spread the word, to spread the idea, to highlight the propaganda objectives of HRA across the province. Next activity which they undertook was that how will they bring along the different youth or the revolutionaries into the fold of HRA. So there was this committee which looked into the collection of men by systematically recruiting the members for HRA. Next department was the fund department. How are they going to collect the funds? For that, they came up primarily, or they first intended to have voluntary subscriptions. Then they also, on occasional basis, used forceful contributions if necessary, right? The fourth department was arms and ammunition department. Here, the role or function of this department was to procure arms and ammunitions for the activities of HRA. The fifth department was foreign connection, which was executed or done directly under the Central Council. Now comes the third level, that is the district organizer. What was his functions and duties? So as I have already mentioned, he was the face of Hindustan Republican Association at the district level. So he mainly was the sole in charge of all members of HRA within the designated district. Not only that, he also divided the men of HRA into separate groups. One who would execute public actions, do public activities, and other group who would do the clandestine or the secret activities. Regular reporting or oversight was maintained by the district organizer of HRA. The security protocols which he ensured would be part of his operation included that there should be restrictive movements in certain areas which were very prone to British checks and authorities. There would be, complete subordination to provincial committees network. He also made sure that district organizers are unaware of each other's activities, again to maintain anonymity and also to restrain or refrain from the information, sensitive information of HRA's moves getting leaked out. Now let's understand. So this was about the HRA's organizational structure. Now, how this Kakori Train Action was unfolded, let's understand that. So one day, Ram Prasad Bismil was using this train, which was the number 8 down train that ran from Shahjahanpur to Lucknow. And while he was in the train, he noticed that there was this, a box which was having the government money, right? And he suddenly, this idea cropped into his mind that what if, this box is looted? Because when he was there in the train, he noticed another thing, that there were no enough security protocols maintained by the railway station officers. Even the train masters were not having enough guns or arms and maintaining security protocols. So when he, met his team, when he met his other members, fellow members of HRA, they all decided to execute Kakori Train Action. There was another reason of this Kakori Train Action to be executed. HRA was running into losses. That means they were not having enough funds raised. And there were a lot of demands by the district organizers from different provinces to the HRA's main central council of giving them funds as soon as possible. So this idea was conceived of looting this 8 number train, 8 down train that ran from Shahjahanpur to Lucknow. So there was this in his autobiography, even Ram Prasad Bismil had mentioned, that was part of BBC News also, that he had noticed this iron box which was kept in the guard's compartment that had the common people's tax money, right? So that's how they started to execute and plan the robbery of this 8 down train. So there were different responsibilities given to different members of, HRA. Here, Manmat Nath Gupta, Rajendra Lahiri, Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqulla Khan, Roshan Singh, their role is very important. So let's understand how this train action was executed. So basically, they had made sure that they have assigned different roles and responsibilities to the key members of HRA. So there was this news published where again Ram Prasad Bismil in his autobiography had written that when the, train chain was pulled by Rajendra Lahiri, he immediately took out the pistol, which was a German Mauser, German pistol, which looked like this, and gave a message to the common passengers to stay calm and keep quiet. He gave a message aloud that, they are not going to harm the common people who are there in the train. Rather, their agenda is different, that is to loot the money from the British authorities, right? But in one of the, what do we say, a misfortune or whatever, there was an, by mistake, a gunshot laid down by Manmat Nath Gupta on Ahmed Ali. Ahmed Ali was a passenger who was just, going to a cabin which was having his wife. So Manmat Nath Gupta basically thought that he is going to leak the information, and he thought it in a way that he could be an enemy. So he shot him. Now, the first thing which was decided by the HRA members was to execute this train action, that they are making sure, or they will make sure, that no life of any innocent passenger is taken. But when this action was done, they had to very quickly break the box, and it was broken by Ashfaqulla Khan, which had money. So, all of a sudden they collected the money and ran away, right? And this misfortune incident happened. So the main revolutionaries which were involved in executing this Kakori train action were Ram Prasad Bismil, who was the main leader of the operation, Ashfaqulla Khan, his very close friend, who broke the iron box, Rajendra Lahiri, who pulled the train chain, Roshan Singh, Chandrasekhar Azab, he was the only HRA member, very key member who escaped the arrest that we will get to know. Banwari Lal, Mukundi Lal, Sachindranath Bakshi, Manmat Nath Gupta, Keshav Chakravarti. Now, how the police authorities or the British authorities got to know who all were the main members who executed this train action, right? So let's understand that. So the magisterial inquiry was laid down and it was presided by Sayyid Ainuddin, who was a special magistrate at Lucknow. And the CID team was led by R.A. Horton in this case. So when they were finding out the evidences, they got to know that there was this sheet or a chadar that was used by some of the revolutionaries. Through that sheet or chadar, they got hold of the washerman of Shahjahanpur. And that's how they got to know that, the revolutionaries belong to Shahjahanpur. Another evidence which they found was, while probing in the public places, that the money or the currency that was used or that was taken from the train was predominantly found in Shahjahanpur. And that's how they connected the links, right? So the police succeeded in finding that washerman in Shahjahanpur, and then he came to know that, this whole act was undertaken by members of HRA from Shahjahanpur. Not only that, the government also announced an award of rupees 5,000 for the arrest of those involved in the Kakori attack. And that's how the betrayals or the stories of betrayals started unfolding, of giving or keeping the names of the people who were involved in Kakori Train Action to the British authorities. So Ram Prasad Bismil was arrested in October 1925, and he was supposedly, after two members of HRA betrayed him. So again, as I mentioned, that the members of HRA themselves betrayed the key founding members of HRA and gave their names to the British authority, right? And while Ram Prasad Bismil was arrested and was taken to the gallows or cells of the jail, he sang or raised this slogan, "Sarfaroshi ki tamanna aaj hamare dil mein hai." Not only this, the other people also, started getting arrested. So there was, after the Kakori robbery, Ashfaqulla Khan successfully evaded the police, authorities with the help of Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi, who escaped from Shahjahanpur. But while he was, deciding to go to the Soviet Union, run to Soviet Union, basically flee to Soviet Union, Ashfaqulla Khan got arrested. On 7th December 1926, again he was betrayed when a friend at whose house he was hiding gave his name to the police authorities. So that's how Ashfaqulla Khan got arrested. So almost all got arrested, like Roshan Singh, Rajendra Lahiri, Banarsi Lal. The only key member who evaded the arrest was Chandrasekhar Azad. The headline of the Kanpur-based newspaper, Pratap, was that Bharat ke 9 Ratan giraftar. When this headline was part of this newspaper, everyone got to know about the arrest. This newspaper's editor was Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi. And then the people started to get to know about the proceedings of the conspiracy trial that was put on the members of HRA. Now let's understand, how was Kakori Train Action sentence was given? What were the proceedings? Who were the defense lawyers from the British side? Who were the defense lawyers from the side of the Indian revolutionaries? So basically, this Kakori trial case happened in Ring Theatre. This Ring Theatre is situated between present-day two monuments at Lucknow, Koti Hayat Baksh and Malika Hud's Palace. Now, this building at that point of time was used by Britishers as a place for entertainment where they saw movies, etc. And in this theater, there was this, caption or a board that was put at the entrance which read, "Dogs and Indians are not allowed." And the Kakori trial happened at this theater. Now, whatever the court's verdict was, that was published by Naval Kishore Press of Lucknow, wherein charges were proved by the legal witness on the Indian revolutionaries. So let's understand how the proceedings happened. So as I had said, that there was this 115-page verdict that was published by Naval Kishore Press in Lucknow. So there were 21 people who were presented before the Sessions Court Justice, Special Judge Archibald Hamilton, on May 1926. So from the side of the Britishers, there was Abbas Salim Khan, Bawari Lal Bhargav, Gyan Chatterjee, and Muhammad Ayub, who were the assessors of the judge or the legal advisors to the British judge in this case. When it comes to defending the Indian revolutionaries, Govind Vallabh Pant, who was also the first CM of Uttar Pradesh, Chandrabhanu Gupta, who later became the third CM of Uttar Pradesh, Mohanlal Saxena, Kripa Shankar Hajela, they all were the famous lawyers that represented the case of the HRA revolutionaries. The public prosecutor from the British side was Pandit Jagat Narayan Mullah. He was a senior advocate and Congress member. His son Anand Narayan Mullah was also part of his legal team in the Kakori case. A very interesting incident happened when Ram Prasad Bismil refused to take any legal help. He rather wanted to represent all by himself. So there was this incident that happened where Ram Prasad Bismil wanted to represent himself through self-representation. So the judge asked Ram Prasad Bismil, "Mr. Ram Prasad, from which university have you taken degree in law?" Ram Prasad Bismil very confidently replied, "Excuse me, sir, kingmakers don't require any degree." Also, after hearing this, obviously the judge got very furious and he rejected Ram Prasad Bismil's plea of defending himself through self. So he appointed Lakshmi Narayan Mishra as his legal advisor or a lawyer to fight his case, right? So there was this death sentence that was given by the judge to 4 HRA members. So Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqulla Khan, Rajendra Lahiri, Roshan Singh were executed with or had to be executed through a death sentence. They all were put in different jails. So for example, Ram Prasad Bismil was put in Gorakhpur jail, Ashfaqulla Khan was put in Faizabad jail, Rajendra Lahiri was put in Gonda jail, Roshan Singh was put in Naini jail, Allahabad. And I hope you would understand why were they kept in different jail. Obviously, so that they do not organize themselves collectively and evade the jail or prison. So 19 persons were convicted. These 4 were given sentence to death. Others got varying jail terms. Some were sent to Kalapani, that is the cellular jail in Port Blair, Andaman. Now, when this sentence was delivered, there was different pleas or appeals laid down. How were these appeals laid down and to whom? That is what we are now going to understand. So following the verdict of the Kakori trial, members of the Legislative Council filed a mercy plea before the provincial governor of the United Provinces. The appeal was sought on the ground that there should be recognition of their political motivations and compassion shown to these HRA revolutionaries, specifically the mercy petition. So this mercy petition got dismissed. So obviously, the HRA members and their supporters would not have kept quiet. So there was this letter written by Ram Prasad Bismil to Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya from Gorakhpur jail to seek help. So Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya prepared a memorandum and drafted a formal appeal with detailed arguments. This formal appeal was given a legislative support of 78 members from the central legislature, which they all signed the document. Now, this memorandum of appeal, which was signed by 78 legislators, was submitted to the Viceroy. At that point of time, it was Edward Frederick Linley Wood who was the Viceroy during this appeal and this incident. However, obviously, even Linley Wood, who was the Viceroy at that time, rejected the mercy petition. Then what was the next step? The next step was that now a representation was sent to the Privy Council at London. Privy Council was a council of legal and administrative advisors to the British Queen. Now this mercy appeal was forwarded to the Privy Council by a famous lawyer of England, S.L. Pollock. Now S.L. Pollock also had a very significant contribution where he played a very important role in taking up the course of action to end discrimination, racial discrimination in South Africa, where he coordinated and helped Mahatma Gandhi during his South Africa stint. So S.L. Pollock had also helped Mahatma Gandhi, before. So this famous lawyer of England, S.L. Pollock, put forward the appeal to the Privy Council. But they had already made up their mind. Obviously, even despite the efforts of S.L. Pollock, the mercy petition was dismissed. So the final decision was that on 19 December 1927, the execution order was confirmed. They had already decided the fate of the HRA revolutionaries, that they are not going to give them the mercy for the execution. So the death sentence, 19 December 1927, became very significant. And it was published in almost every leading newspaper. So Ram Prasad Bismil was to be hanged by the British authorities on 19 December from the Gorakhpur jail. Ashfaqulla Khan on 19 December from Faizabad jail. Thakur Roshan Singh from Naini jail, Allahabad. It was only one HRA revolutionary who was hanged 2 days before all three, and it was Rajendra Lahiri, who was hanged on 17 December 1927, 2 days before the scheduled date from Gonda jail. Because the British authorities, the police authorities have got to know that, people have started gathering there to free him. So they gave him the death sentence. The execution was done 2 days prior. Now, this was with respect to the Kakori Train Action, the trial, the conspiracy, how all of that was executed. A very important element in the Kakori Train Action was the role of songs and poems and slogans that were raised during this time. So in that, we have to understand from prelims point of view, the songs or the slogans that were made part of Kakori Train Action. So there was this slogan, Inkilab Zindabad, that was used by HRA revolutionaries. A poem, Sarfaroshi Ki Tamanna, which was originally written by Bismil Azimabadi, but was sung by Ram Prasad Bismil and his fellow men. Then there was this poem, Desh Prem Ka Jazba, which was again written by Ram Prasad Bismil. There was a lullaby, Soja Rajkumar, again was written in jail by Ram Prasad Bismil. There was a slogan raised, Vande Mataram, that was a common nationalist slogan that became part of HRA activities as well as Kakori Train trial. Now let's understand the importance and the contribution of Kakori Train Action. Now this Kakori Train Action opened the eyes of the people against the atrocities, unjust laws that was implemented by the British authorities. The way they rejected the mercy plea of the HRA revolutionaries also jolted and impacted the people. Another thing which was very important was that it organized the revolutionary fervor and movement in India. Not only that, it also inspired the future freedom struggle. And a very important development that happened because Chandrasekhar Azad evaded the arrest, that in 1928, HRA got a new name and was transformed into Hindustan Socialist Republican Association with the effort of Chandrasekhar Azad. The Yellow Constitution of HRA also provided the ideological framework to the future revolutionaries and activities that happened during the freedom struggle of India. So this was with respect to the Kakori Train Action that this year we are seeing the 100 years of celebration. Now, because this is part of your current affairs topic, what you need to understand is that from the static perspective, how are you going to prepare this topic? So the main topic under which you have to prepare Kakori Train Action will be your revolutionary nationalism phase. So this is your current affairs topic, Kakori Train Action, and the static main topic is revolutionary nationalism. So the revolutionary nationalism phase, you have to do it with respect to two time periods. One in 19th century and the other in 20th century. What was the difference? What was the nature of activities? Who all were the important, revolutionaries who took participation or who organized revolutionary activities in different stages of time, right? So when you're doing this topic, this is the first time period you have to look into. Now, on what basis you are going to prepare this topic, keeping in mind that, we are witnessing 100 years of Kakori Train Action? Second, are the different organizations at different centers of India during this time period. You have to prepare. Second, key personalities who organized revolutionary activities. The different conspiracy trials and activities organized, right? The defense lawyers, both from the side of Britishers as well as the Indian revolutionaries, is what you have to prepare. Next, last but not the least, the press, the journals, the pamphlets, newspapers issued or highlighted the cause of the Indian revolutionaries during this time period is again you will prepare. So this is how you will prepare this current affairs topic under the main topic, that is revolutionary nationalism. So just to give you an example, at different places of India, specifically Maharashtra, UP, Bengal, central provinces, Delhi, there were revolutionary activities undertaken. Few of the names like Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Surya Sen, they are very, very important. The armory raids like Chittagong armory raid becomes very, very important. So these are the main, ideas which I wanted to give you. So this was with respect to how you are going to understand a current affairs topic from the perspective of both static and current affairs. So I hope that this event that happened, which is celebrating the 100 years this year, Kakori Train Action, is going to help you in your examination purpose. So all the best, guys. Have a nice day.